So the second P is pivot, which almost feels like the opposite a little bit of persevere. But I just want to encourage people right now. I feel like there's been a lot of people in the last year, and you can just let us know in the comments if this is you, because we would love to pray for you. But I feel like there's a lot of people that maybe lost like friendships or relationships in 2022, maybe 2021. It felt like the Lord was almost like realigning their relationships. I almost feel like even people were transitioning, even maybe church bodies or ministries they were running with. And I just want to encourage you that that actually is the Lord, that the Lord is actually trying to align you with the people you're supposed to run with in this season. And so I just want to encourage you, like, grieve it. I know I've had to grieve relationships that I thought like we were going to run together forever. But I just feel like God really quickly is realigning people with the people they're supposed to run with in this new season.
That's really great. Yeah.
This is the season. Okay, here's a little bit of a convicting, challenging word for you guys. Okay. We knew it was coming, right?
Yeah.
Okay, this is the season where you absolutely, like, if there's one promise you make for yourself to the Lord, this is the year that you need to radically and quickly obey. I just can't emphasize this enough, Jeff, that I really do believe that the Holy Spirit is hovering over the nations, and he is searching to see whose hearts are just like on the front foot, that are just waiting upon the Lord. I keep thinking about the Jeremiah 29:13 verse. Actually, I've been waking up in the middle of the night to this verse, just like it's on repeat, where the Lord just keeps saying to me, you will seek me and find me when you seek me with all your heart. And I believe that means like just being on that front foot, like searching out the Lord, waiting to be used by him. And then when he gives you a little tiny nudge, and it might be to send a gift to someone, or pray for someone on the street, or go live on your social media, or whatever it is the Holy Spirit says, or to fast social media, or whatever it may be, that you just quickly, like, you don't question it, you just respond. And I believe that God's actually testing us to see how quickly we are to be yielded to him. And I just think that there's an acceleration, there's favor, there's open doors. I even think there's financial provision for those that will just right off the bat not question the Lord, and just will quickly and radically obey him.
That's huge. That's huge, because I know there's a lot of people out there who are like, no, I need to see all the variables. I need to know that if I do this, that it's going to lead to this, this, and this. And that's really stunted a lot of people. And I mean, I've done it. I think everybody's done that to some degree. Absolutely. But totally. I will say the times when I've just been like, forget it. Let's just do it. Let's just go. God, he is very faithful. He is more faithful than it. He's constantly surprising me at how faithful he is, actually. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's funny too, because I always tell the girls that I disciple this, that like there has to be some level of trust that God knows our heart and our intentions. And if you hear God tell you to do something and you obey him and you miss it, well, God knows that you're trying to obey him, and he's still going to work it out for your good.
Yeah, that's a great point.
So I think sometimes we think it's like we're walking this tightrope of faith, and it's a little bit more like the Grand Canyon, like you're just jumping into the will of God. And as you do it, and as you're like, okay, I'm trying to follow Jesus, he's like, oh, you got a little off here, but he'll bring you where you need to go. But I think if you're just kind of sitting around waiting, that you're not going to see any movement. You're not going to see the things come to pass. And so,
yeah, well, and to that also, Jessi, I do feel like sometimes anytime you're going to be met with some measure of scrutiny, even by believers, when you are the
Totally.
one that actually decides to step out and do something. And if you don't do it 100% in their mind, you, even in your mind, you go, oh, I did it. And that's the most important part. I did it. I know I was slow to do it, but I did it. There are going to be some people that go, well, that what you said was inaccurate, or it wasn't, I don't believe what you said, so ergo you're a false prophet, or I did this and you're whatever, and
Right.
I think that I always translate us stepping out for the Lord, or us, our heart's desire is to want to obey. Our heart's desire is
Right.
to want to listen and to be used by him. And it's like, how can you read this and then not have some measure of like burning inside of your heart to be like, oh man, greater things than these will you do, Lord, and my life does not look like greater things than these will you do, but I know that you're capable of it. But I always translate it into like when a baby is learning to walk, right? They step and you're like, you need to be able to run, and the baby can't even, it can barely crawl, and you trying to get it to stand up and it plops over, and you're not like, you stupid baby, like it's ruined. You were supposed to be able to run. My work here is I've done all I can and then walk away. No, like, given time, the baby will learn to, it'll grow, it'll get strong enough to be able to stand on its own 2 feet. It'll take its first step, it'll learn to walk, then it'll learn to run. It's a process, but for some reason when it comes to the things of God and hearing him, we don't do that. Like we look at
Right.
people, we judge them, and then I just and that's not good, not healthy.
No, I think you're spot on, Jeff, because I think so many people don't realize I hear people all the time. They're like, I'm called to be like a prophet to the nations. And I'm like, okay, that's great. So that's not where you probably start, though.
Right.
And I think that people don't realize, even for some of those perseverance, like prophetic words that people are believing to come to pass, I think people don't realize you just have to start somewhere. And exactly what you're saying, Jeff, I think that's exactly right. It's those baby steps, and it's the simple obedience. It's the tiny nudgings of the Holy Spirit. It's showing God, like, listen, I trust you. I love you. You're a priority to me. And even on that third point for the pivot word, where it says just to shift from things that don't lead to life and follow his leading. I think sometimes the most radical thing that we can do as a believer is just stop doing things that are ruining us. And I think that for some of us, even just asking the Holy Spirit, like King David, like, search me, God. Is there anything inside of me, anything in my heart that offends you? Like we see in the Psalms,